Cloudy and humid weather returns to the area, tracking storms that could affect your weekend plans. And meeting the man behind the campaign.
I'm a unicorn, you know? It's kind of like a Republican guy getting elected in the bluest state in America.
A day in the life of Larry Hogan as he runs for U.S. Senate. An easier pill to swallow for DMV seniors. The White House's potential price cuts to medication. And a local team thinking outside the box, getting national recognition.
That box is slowly being broken and everyone's being told that they can't achieve their dreams.
His contribution to the fight against cancer.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the News at Noon. I'm Mark Hall. Developing now out of Prince George's County, the standoff has been resolved between police and a suspect barricaded inside of a Langley Park home. Police have taken the suspect in without incident. Police say that they responded to the scene after reports of shots fired at a single-family home on 17th Avenue. Other people in the home were able to get out safely. This is a developing story, and we're going to bring you the latest as we learn more. Well, meteorologist Damon Matson joined us now with the latest check on the forecast. Damon, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, my friend.
Hey, we still have that haze out there and maybe a little rain on the way.
Right, and that rainfall is going to be the key to clearing out what bit of haze we do have left in the sky. And so far, folks, again, the haze is noticeable. It's visible out there. And yet again, our air quality is not completely perfect. Unfortunately here, that dark yellow on the map indicating that drop in air quality that we are experiencing across most of Northern Virginia into the district and Southern Maryland as well. This is not enough to cause any sort of major problems. Air quality alerts have not been issued, but again, that residual haze in the sky is at least leaving its effect on us as we move ahead here into the rest of the day. But it will be clearing out right as we get some of this cloud cover rolling in. Yes, not just that haze is in the sky at this point. We have high cloud cover that is filling in across much of Virginia, Maryland, all the way over to the district. The cloud cover is a little bit more noticeable as you go to the west, closer to that approaching storm system. Now, the clouds really all many of us are going to see as we head through the afternoon. It's going to be a very warm and muggy day ahead of us with temperatures around 90 and that humidity back in place. But the showers and storms, they will be just confined to the west. We'll talk about, though, when that rainfall could start to spread off to the east, coming up in your full forecast here in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. Two Virginia Beach children are recovering in a hospital after police say their father allegedly committed a stabbing and abduction that ended in a violent crash in Temple Hills, Maryland. Virginia Beach police confirmed that one child is dead. Now, two of the children involved are being treated at a hospital in Northwest D.C. DC News Now's Liberty Simmons has the latest.
Police say the father, identified as Dana Plummer, allegedly stabbed his ex-wife and child in Virginia Beach Wednesday night. They say he then kidnapped their three other children and took off in a Honda SUV. An Amber Alert was issued and state troopers spotted the SUV on I-95 in Fairfax County Thursday morning. They say the troopers tried to pull over Plummer, but he refused to stop and led police on a chase. Maryland State Police say Plummer lost control, hit two other cars, and crashed onto Route 5. Plummer and his three children were rushed to the hospital. A medevac rushed a 16-month-old baby girl to the hospital, but she died of her injuries.
A Maryland teenager who pled guilty to attempted murder will be sentenced today. Caden Holland, also known as Baby K, tried to shoot and kill another teenager on a school bus in May of last year. 17-year-old was charged as an adult. Sentencing hearing is expected to begin around 1:30 this afternoon at the Prince George's County Courthouse. Stick around with us on air and online for the latest details. Fairfax County Police searching for at least two more suspects in a luxury store theft ring. The group is accused of stealing tens of thousands of dollars in merchandise from Tysons Corner back in June. Yesterday, county police announced that they arrested a man accused of driving the getaway car. Suspect was arrested in Philadelphia and would be extradited back to Virginia. And police also have warrants for two additional suspects. Officials are still searching for several unknown suspects, and if you have any information on who these people are or who they may be, you're asked to contact police. We now know the name of the man shot and killed by police in Alexandria late Monday night. He's 61-year-old Paul Behan Jr. Investigators say a concerned caller had reached out to police saying that Behan was talking about harming himself. When police arrived, they reached at the Parkside Alexandria condos. They say that Behan came into the stairwell with a gun. Police say they tried to de-escalate the situation for 30 minutes, but shot Behan when he did a, quote, threatening action. The incident is under investigation. Well, a jury now deciding the fate of a former D.C. Parks employee who shot and killed a 13-year-old boy here in Northeast last year. He says that it was in self-defense, but prosecutors say that he would not have been in danger if he'd stayed in his home. DC News Now's Max Marcella is bringing us up to speed on closing arguments.
Jurors deliberated for about 2 hours, but they have left the courthouse without a verdict today, and they will come back on Friday to deliberate some more. What happened in court on Thursday? Well, it was closing arguments, both the defense and prosecution using some surveillance video and audio to outline their case, which centers around whether or not Jason Lewis acted in self-defense or whether he is guilty of second-degree murder. Now, during the defense's nearly 90-minute closing argument, the attorney said Lewis felt threatened. He went outside of his home because he heard the sounds of people breaking into cars, and then they say Lewis saw a light and heard a noise he perceived to be a gunshot, and that's when he fired once at a car in an alley. Lewis himself testified yesterday saying he thought the driver of that car fired a gunshot first. And then Lewis ended up firing a second and third shot when 13-year-old Karan Blake came running his way. But prosecutors say Blake's running was a natural and fearful reaction to the first gunshot Lewis fired, and that Lewis was actually the first aggressor. Prosecutors say Blake should not have been breaking into cars, but he did not deserve to die. They also played audio of Blake's final words in which he said, "I'm sorry," 5 times, and then said, "No, no, no, I'm only a kid. I'm only 12. The prosecution argues Lewis didn't wait to see a gun before he lifted his own weapon up, and that he left his home where he was safe in order to go outside. The jury will come back on Friday to continue deliberations and potentially offer a verdict for the second-degree murder and the assault with a dangerous weapon charges. Reporting at D.C. Superior Court, Max Marcella, D.C. News Now.
DC News Now is your local election headquarters. President Biden and Vice President Harris made their way to Largo, Maryland yesterday. It's their first appearance together since the president dropped out of the race. The two announcing a new deal to help cut drug prices and curb rising inflation. Many in the crowd were mostly black voters who say they're excited to see Harris on stage.
It's wonderful for our young ladies and young men to see someone that looks like them, you know, in politics, doing really positive things.
Voters tell us that reproductive rights, access to health care for veterans, and immigration and border control are top of mind heading into November.
I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her. I mean, she certainly attacks me personally. She actually called me weird. He's weird. It was just a soundbite. And she called J.D. and I weird. He's not weird.
Former President Donald Trump had a news conference at his golf club in New Jersey. He says that whether the attacks are good or bad, he's entitled to make them himself. And the former President Trump holding his second news conference in a week, he told reporters that Harris is responsible for inflation and talked about his economic plan. His proposals include extending his 2017 tax cuts and increasing oil drilling and adding tariffs on all imports.
This is campaigning on the largest tax increase in American history, including ending the Trump tax cuts, one of the largest tax cuts ever in our country's history.
Well, 2 nonpartisan reports looked at the 2017 tax cuts. The Brookings Institute said that they did not help the middle class. And the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities also found that it skewed towards people who are wealthy. In the district, a last hurrah before kids have to hit the books once again. Leaders hosted a back-to-school party. It was a block party at the Columbia Heights Education Campus yesterday, and there was a lot of fun to be had with rock climbing and wall climbing and food and, of course, a talent show.
Want to help our kids and our families to launch into the school year in a good way. And so one of the things you hear us say a lot is public safety is really about community. It's more about that than anything else. So this is just another way in which we're bringing our government to community.
And organizers also gave away 3,000 backpacks to students. A Virginia teen from Fairfax County is Time Magazine's Kid of the Year. 15-year-old scientist Heyman Bakaliag taking home that title, and he is being recognized for his skin cancer fighting soap. And Heyman says that the idea came to him while growing up in Ethiopia, where he watched people work long hours in the hot sun. And we caught up with him during Black History Month, and he told us that he wants to turn his invention into a nonprofit organization. Heyman says that his goal is to also make skin cancer treatment more accessible around the world.
For so long, everybody's just been put, especially when it comes to people of like African American culture, it's just been put in a box. And it's really great to see that everything is that box is slowly being broken and everyone's being told that they can achieve their dreams.
And he also credits his family for setting the stage for his achievements.